All right. All right, but here we go. We are live. The closing table is back. We're back after a little month vacay, thanks to those holidays, which we're getting ready to get into Christmas time and the holidays for everybody. But we're here. We're here to wrap up an amazing year in 2025, give you a little preview into 2026, and catch you up on all the world of real estate, the Delaware Valley area, the Philadelphia area, the Delaware County area, which we love so much, Chester County, et cetera, et cetera. But the man that covers all that area is here, and he's going to guide us with his master plan, as he always does. From NextHome Brandywine, Mr. Dan Pizzi's here, and he's the man in the middle, and his ever smiling and happy co-host on the flip side, Mr. Hub Rigel. Guys, take it away.
Hopefully we got a good signal. I'm going to have to move upstairs. I don't know if you remember the last episode. We had signal issues. Hopefully we do not. First, I wanted to wish everybody a happy holiday season. Bay's coming to us from the south. And we got Hub coming to us from Texas. And we just all, in our own way, in our own locations, want to wish everybody a happy holiday season. Let's, Hub, how we doing down there in Texas?
We'll see. What I think is that we might have somewhat of a Christmas episode today. So it could be Christmassy, but that's also, the winter time is also a little bit of a extra slowdown for looking at open houses and that kind of thing. Is that right?
Correct. And we're watching out. I'm going to try to go upstairs. I got Joe home, so hopefully if Joe's not here, we can go upstairs and try to see if we can get a better signal here for everybody so we can enjoy this episode without technical difficulties.
So is that a night robe? Is that a night robe? Is that a night robe you're wearing?
I got a sweater on, actually. I got a heavy
Hey, you know those guys
on.
wearing their nightgown, like in the heavy metal guys, like Ronnie James Dio? Wearing a night robe, like they're like waiting to take some woman to bed or something like that.
He's more like Hugh Hefner, you know. He just needs the pipe.
Yeah, it is extremely cold up here. I mean, bitter. This morning we were like 13 degrees up here, and then tonight we're supposed to go down again. It only got to like 21 up here, so it was that kind of a day. So we have a heavy, what they call, they used to call them cowl neck. I don't know, I forget, like a cardigan sweater because it's so darn cold today. We always get off topic here. But Bay, how we doing down there? Everything good down there?
You know what? It's just as cold down here as it is up there, which is like very shocking. I don't understand, what's going on. Usually the winter isn't too bad. The winter hit us hard early down here, and it's like 18 degrees here today.
Oh, you're just as bad as us. It's like Arctic up here. We had the snow. They said, we're supposed to get a clipper system, and it's going to be more 95 corridor area. It's going to get the most of it, maybe just south into Jersey. So we ended up getting out by us, because we're further north and west, 7.5 inches heavy wet snow. I mean, it was a bear out here. I mean, we got bombarded on Sunday, and it was Saturday night into Sunday. So we still got a lot of ice. It just never, the temperatures got colder. So Hub, you're not dealing with that down there in Texas. What's going on down there with the weather?
We have for 2 days, and last night it was below freezing all night long. But today it's 45 right now.
Oh yeah, believe it or not, by the end of the week we're supposed to get into the low 40s, which hopefully will help melt some of this stuff off.
Yeah, and we're getting into the low or the high. We're getting into the like 60s and 70s in this week. And it's going to get to a low 70, like 70, high 60s, and sometime during this week.
I'll take that any day. Let's get into some real estate. We'll get into some topics here and just catch everybody up. So last year and this year followed some similar trends to where we got busy late season. Generally, we're seasonal real estate up here because of the weather patterns that we just talked about. But we started to get busy again a couple weeks later than last year. But October, November really we picked up a lot. I mean, really, we picked up probably 25% of our business late in the year again. I'm not sure. We seem to do good early spring now. We tail off when the kids get out of school. The summer seems to be very slow anymore. It used to be pretty consistent all the way up until August, and then we would slow for just a bit. But things have picked back up. It's a very uneven market right now. Like I said, we are busy in certain segments. What they would consider the affordable housing segment, which is around 400,000. We're busy in that. Even the entry level 300, 350 townhomes, we're busy in those segments. Interest rates are around 6.25. I checked again this morning. Even though the Fed drops rates, we go off the bond market with most of the time with the interest rates for real estate and for mortgages. So if the Fed drops rate, it doesn't mean that the mortgage interest rates are necessarily going to drop. They may not. Right now, we haven't moved. Week over week, we're still at 6.25. So we're about the same as we were last week.
Yeah, but it looks like they're going to drop them a little bit in the new year.
Yeah, and Hub, I gotta say, it's too. It's late. I mean, honestly, for us being busy in October, for us realtors from a business perspective, it would have helped. There's a lot of buyers waiting, and they just a little bit of a push. They need something to say it's okay. Somebody to say, hey, these rates are, they're going to go down, or they went down 2/10, and it's okay to jump in. Because a lot of people, I tell you, if it's an affordable house and it's a small single family, people, and I'm just speaking to our experience up here, like Bay mentioned, some of the counties we cover, it pretty much nobody wants a townhome with an association fee anymore. They're looking for a small single manageable, even less square footage sometime than a townhome. And when I go to those open houses, and when they have them, those small singles, there's literally 20 families there, all different kinds of families, different sizes, looking for these smaller singles in that affordable price range. And up here, affordable right now is around 400 grand, which is unbelievable. It used to be 250. Now it's about 400 grand right now. I mean, that's what they consider affordable. And if anything goes up, say like 330 or 320, that ends up selling for 360 because people just trying to get their hands on something that makes sense and that is relatively affordable. So kind of that's what's going on up here. Got a settlement coming up Thursday. On my buddy Joe, he's selling his property. That was listed at $399. It sold for $440 in Aston. So we were there's a perfect example. Desirable section, Bay, right off 452 in Aston.
My old
right where the beer distributor is. Seasons Pizza's down there, right down there. Great neighborhood back there, convenient to everything. Aston's a nice township. But that house was $399, and that's what it was worth, $399. It had all the mechanicals done. It had a nice exterior. Roof was done. All the major things were done, but still needed some updating. That house was listed correctly at $399. I had it sold in about 2 to 3 days for $440. The offers just kept coming on that house. The guy wanted to be there because his sister was there. He pushed the number. Let's talk about that briefly, and we're going to get Hub in here. This is interesting. Get your guys' thought on this. So a house that was needed some work in that development was about $385. These are all comps, closed comps. A house that was fixed in that development was around $425, $430. So now we get this. We put up for $399. Needed a kitchen and a bathroom, but most things were done. Needed some paint and rugs, some cosmetic stuff, but the bigger ticket item stuff was done. Had a whole house, hot water. So we compared everything, $399. I got $440 cash. So now you set a new precedent. I've been talking about this. I find it interesting. I set a new precedent for that development. There's no appraisal, so the comp sticks. So a house that was finished used to be $425, $430. Now this house that needed a slightly bit of work just sold for $440. So now you're hoping to get in that development at $385 to $400 for a fixer-upper. Now this house that was mid-tier, say as far as work that was done, is at 440 and it's comped. So now Mary down the street's got her house she wants to put up in the spring. It's going to go up for 475. So you just raised that development because this guy paid cash 40,000 over ask. You just raised the comps in that development 75,000 by the time you're done. So now it becomes more unaffordable than affordable. But this is what's happening because people are buying their way into certain neighborhoods, and it's just pushing the ticket item supply and demand way up. Yeah. And when you get a new comp, someone else is going to go higher. If they look at that comp and feel like, and we'll see what the consumer is going to do until the consumer stops paying it. This is where we're at. Let's get your thoughts on that. To me, it's like, okay, and they say, oh, that's a good thing. It's not a good thing. The houses just went up 10 to 15 to 20% over the course of me doing this one deal. I just set a new standard for that development. And what are the first-time home buyers going to do? They can't afford that increase. Go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking that sometimes somebody with a buyer like that, he's going to do a lot of remodeling to that anyway, and so he doesn't care if it needs some updates.
Correct.
And so, but you're right. There's people with money that will come in and buy those now in that neighborhood. Yep. And you, Dan, are a pricing trailblazer.
Yeah, and but I always think about that entry level buyer. They can't get in there. So
it's not good for the community, really. But
you're right, 100% every step of the way, Hub. And like that guy is going to go in there. He was living in Jersey. His sister lived in the development, and he wanted to be in the development because his sister was there. So now we just said, and like you said, he's going to go in and fix it, and he's going to raise the value of it. So him overpaying, yeah, he overpaid, but it didn't necessarily make him, put him at a disadvantage as far as what he paid for the house.
Yeah, but he would have remodeled any house that he bought in that neighborhood.
Yep.
So it didn't matter to him that it needed to be fixing.
I agree. And it just pushes these price points. I'm going to be interested to see if the rates come down. I can tell you this. I know for a fact when I go to these open houses and these more affordable price points that the buyers are there. I mean, they're there. They've been sitting there. Some of them have been sitting on the sidelines for 3 years. So when the interest rates drop, are we going to have a flood of buyers if it can be somewhat affordable? What that is, I guess to each his own on that.
Well, see, in my neighborhood, the houses are about $550 to $650 now, and that's way up from what it used to be.
Like so, what about over the last 10 years, Hub, down there?
It's way up from there. It's like double from the last 10 years, at least double, if not more.
How far outside of Dallas?
No, I'm in Dallas. I'm in far North Dallas.
Okay.
I'm in far North Dallas, close to Richardson and close to Garland.
Good, perfect. So that gives people an idea, Bay, I hear a lot of jobs are coming down there by you.
A lot of the companies are moving, from California. They're moving over here to the Nashville area, but the real estate here, it's funny because where my new job on the way I go, there's this development that they're building, and I see the sign out there. It's townhomes starting at the early 400s. So I keep passing it every day, and I said to myself, "Yeah, I want to look into that. I want to see what it's, And I look at the house. I pulled it up, and they are like these little tiny shoebox, like cookie cutter, ugly townhomes. I mean, it's just horrible, ugly looking inside, like bare bones, basic, and it's $423,000 starting. And I was like, this is insane. What's going on?
That's your entry level house.
Entry level house, $423,000.
And you're going to need about $45,000 to get into that house, right? So here you look at some numbers. So if you're coming in, you're looking at that house, bare bones entry level house, $45,000 to get in, and you're looking at, if you just went in at that low number, you're looking at about $2,700 a month.
You know what's crazy? Like I actually, I talked to my landlord the other day because I rent, and he was explaining to me he's actually starting January. he's turning over. He owns 28 properties. He's turning
Okay.
it over to a what's it called?
Management company.
A management company.
Yeah.
And he explained to me, you know, I'm getting a little older, and I just want to make sure everything's in. Me and my partners sat down and talked about it and decided this was the best way to go to protect our investment, take a little pressure off us, and in case, you know, one of us has any health issues or gets sick or anything. And he said to me, he said, we're not selling any of our properties. Our plan is to keep our properties and pass them down to our children. But at that point, I said to myself, I was like, I wonder if it's almost worth it to not even buy, to just say, all right, at 55 years old, I'm just going to rent my house. Say, look, give me a 10-year lease or a 20-year, whatever, and lock me in, because I can just pay, you know, right now, my after this year, when it goes up every year, I'll be closing in close to $2,000 a month. But if I go to buy a house in my development, I'm looking at $3,500 a month plus another $300 a month on top of that for a home association.
Did you see I was watching the news and they were saying a lot of people don't want to buy, like even this younger generation, 30, 35-year-old generation, they don't want to buy. They're because of all those factors that you spoke about, plus they don't want to do the maintenance on the properties, right?
Yeah.
The upkeep, the physical maintenance, right? So a lot of people just want to rent. So then there's a whole bunch of stuff that opens up there as far as, you know, the older properties like Collingdale and all those areas, Sharon Hill, the Fallcroft, Norwood, those properties were older in Norwood. Who buys them and what do they do with them? These big conglomerates are coming in, this foreign money's coming in, and they're buying up basically droves of houses in neighborhoods. They're fixing them and they're putting tenants in them.
Wow. It's becoming more of a corporate thing.
Yes.
Even in normal, not even just developments anymore, like a townhouse development like I live in, it's becoming a corporate thing in everyday housing neighborhoods.
The market's definitely shifted. I mean, it really has. The market has definitely shifted. I can't read that. Who put that up?
Will Collins. What's up, Will? How you doing, bro? I've learned a lot about real estate this year, terms like seller's assist and how the state grants work.
Good questions. I'll give you a little bit on both. State grants and grants in general, it's this kind of ignorant, but are specific to the programs. I can tell you some programs we have down here that you can get up to 10,000 in our area down here in the Philadelphia region. And there's different grants. There's grants specific to neighborhoods too, where they kind of want to rejuvenate certain neighborhoods. So like Upper Darby's one. I know the girl Chevelle that I had as a client in Sharon Hill, she got a state grant. And a lot of them, if you stay 10 years, you don't pay it back. So if it's 10,000, you basically have to, if you leave after 5 years, you got to pay $5,000 back. So there's there is a ton of programs, but they're specific and you have to see if you qualify for them. There is a lot of programs. People say first-time home buyer. They don't necessarily use that term anymore. Some people qualify, you know, because they're first-time home buyer, but talk to a really well-qualified, well-learned hub, mortgage broker, and they will give you some information on programs. As far as seller's assist, here's the way seller's assist works. Generally, seller's assist is involved with FHA properties. So if the house is up for 300,000 and you need cash to close, like we were just talking, Bay, that properties you were talking about, they need about 10 to 12% to close. So at 400,000, you need $40,000 to $45,000 to close. So on a property, let's say 300,000, you can ask for, as if you're getting an FHA loan up to 6% seller's assist. So that would be $18,000. Here's the kicker. Well, let me explain a little bit further. The seller would give the buyer back 18,000. So say the house is listed for 300. The buyer asked for a seller's assist of 6%. So that would be $18,000 off of the 300,000. That would be 382,000, correct? So that's what the seller would net. If they were in agreement with that, that's fine. But understand this: if you push the price up and it's 300 and you go to 318 because the seller wants the net 300, the home needs to appraise for the higher dollar value. So understand, if you're playing with the numbers to bake a seller's assist into your offer, you have to understand that the home has to appraise for the higher value. So if you're pushing the number over the asking price to get X amount back, it's got to appraise for the higher number. Good questions. Good questions.
Those are some complicated numbers there, Dan.
Yeah,
That's
you know
why
what's
you.
funny? Like, we do a lot. Well, recently, Hub, we haven't done a lot of seller's assist because the market was so hot. They weren't accepting it. It wasn't it wasn't something that a seller needed to consider, unfortunately, right now. So again, if the house is 100 grand and you say I want it, but I want a 6% seller's assist, and the seller says I want 100. Okay, then the buyer would have to say, I'm going to push my offer to 106, and then basically you'd net right around 100,000 with that 6% seller's assist, maybe a tiny bit more. But here's the deal: if the bank comes in and says no, it's only worth 100, now you're back open in negotiation because the deal isn't sticking as it was written because the seller's assist, messes with the number. And again, sometimes I always make sure people know that the home needs to appraise for the higher number. Some people won't explain that. Oh, we'll give them a seller's assist. That's great, but the math has to work for the bank, the seller, and the buyer. And there are some caveats to that. But and there's another loan out there if you're in a rural area like I'm in, USDA, where they're no money down. They're Department of Agriculture loans, like in rural areas. That's another thing to look at. That'll help you as far as not having to put anything down when you go into the property. And, sometimes you get a little better interest rate depending on where you're at and what the numbers look like. So there's that's again why you have to sit down and talk to people and say, are there any grants available? What are the loan programs out there that might benefit me? What areas am I looking in, and are those areas USDA? Will they accept FHA with a seller's assist? What are my chances of getting a VA loan accepted in certain areas in the current market? I feel like we rush too much. I'm as hyper as anybody. I feel like we need to calm down and have that conversation.
But where you live, Dan, isn't there a lot of housing availability right now?
Here's a key thing, Hub. There is, Hub, and there isn't. It's desirable housing. Again, like where we grew up in southern Delaware County, outside the airport, outside of Philadelphia, those homes got older. They're not, and they go like on those 25-year cycles. They're not as desirable. And a lot of people don't want them. They don't want to live in Sharon Hill anymore. They don't want to, for various reasons. They don't want those houses. So again, it's like
Is it the neighborhood and the schools that you're talking about?
Yeah, I think another thing that factors into some of these neighborhoods is the age of the houses and what they would consider deferred maintenance. So, Bay, we talk about Sharon Hill, right outside the airport, very convenient to the highway. But the houses now have reached 100+ years old and they don't have the proper maintenance. So, they used to be these big, my buddy Chris Margalongo lived in one, beautiful high street right by the Sharon Hill trolley stop in Sharon Hill. Beautiful 4-bedroom homes. They were like big twins. But now nobody wants them because they need so much work, the oil heat, they need maintenance, and then they're listed for 250, 300,000. The neighborhoods, as far as the blight and the amount of earned income per capita has gone down, the houses need more work, so they have a lot of deferred maintenance, and you run into a situation where for a certain segment of people, they're not desirable.
Yeah, well, see, around here, there's a lot of houses for sale, but they're actually probably overpriced for what they're going to be in the long term. So
Do,
we're looking at, uh, let's say, a $550,000 house. It's really hard to sell it right now. It takes a long time to sell.
I was just going to ask you that. The days on market. So days on market here have climbed to 20 to 30 roughly. So instead of it selling in 1 or 2 days, the average days on market, the last I looked, was like 21 to 23 days, which is still good. I've been in markets where the average days on market were 78 days, 84 days. So they sat. But it's
and that's
changed.
probably what it is around here in North Dallas here, because
Now,
this is highly desirable to live here in North Dallas, because
is it affordability issue for the people that are trying to get in?
it's the affordability, it's the affordability, and there's a lot of houses on the market.
Well, see, again, supply and demand. We don't have a gluttony of houses on the market. Stuff that's desirable will sell quickly. Stuff that is not desirable is sitting, like these townhomes, because the associations have gotten out of control. You look at a townhome community with a $300 a month association fee. Add that into your monthly payment. You can't afford it.
So where are the new suburbs in your area? Like where they have the new houses, where you're guaranteed you're going to have good schools. You're going to pay up for the house, but you're going to have good schools, and you're going to be close enough to work, but it's still going to be a pretty new house.
I think Bay, you know the area. I think it's only where I'm at now, Western Chester County, just south of Lancaster, west of Downingtown, in the Coatesville area. We can't speak to the schools too much, but you can look at the numbers. They are what they are. You are going to get, for example, you can get a 3 to a 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath on a quarter acre for $500,000. It's not cheap, but you're not going to get that in Delaware County, closer to the airport. You know where you can go here? You can go out to but it gets really rural, and you have to be able to get work. Columbia County, more towards the central part of the state.
Well, how long would you have to commute to work, though, from there?
Depends on. Here's the thing: we're a halfway point. My area is the halfway point between Harrisburg, which is the capital of the state, and Philadelphia. So we're in a spot to where you could work either an hour to Harrisburg or an hour to Philadelphia. We're right in the middle. So again, it depends on where you're at. Are people starting to look for jobs in Lancaster and Harrisburg and New York? And this would be a reasonable spot to be in, because you're kind of in between.
But if you have to drive an hour every day?
A lot of people do, and a lot of people drive longer than that live where I live. But just take this in consideration. We have a new app, folks. Email me. I'll send you the link. We have a terrific new app. It just sent me an update on my house value, and it said my house was worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $425,000. I have 3 bedroom, 2.5 baths. Not big, 1,900 square foot. I'm on just less than a half acre, 2-car garage. Okay. Guess what I paid for the house? I bought the house in 2002. It's public record. I paid $165,000 for the house. So I moved out here because it was relatively cheap. But I still have to drive. When I go down to my buddy's place in Media, it's 55 minutes to get down there. We drive far because we are rural out here, and we're outside, King of Prussia, Malvern for us. Those areas are more mainstream. They're about 25, 30 minutes from us. But, for us, that it comes down to it. What do we got here? Another one, Bay?
It's Will Collins again. I'm in South Jersey, and the houses are flying off the market. Homes are going for way over.
Yeah, they are. So his name's Will. I can't say because I'm on the phone here. So Will, I got my cousin who lives in Media, and he's got a very expensive home that he's looking for me to sell. He's looking in South Jersey, over the bridge, along that whole stretch there, 295, Cherry Hill, all down there, Collingswood. He can't find anything. He's looking for a ranch, 400, 500,000. He can't get, and he's been outbid. So, and Will, there's challenges in South Jersey with the cost and the insurance and everything else, but they are. But again, that's, to me, if you work and live there, or you work and live just on the other side of the bridge in Philly, location-wise, to me, it's pretty desirable.
Yeah, well, I think your house actually, you've got a really good deal because you've got a big lot.
I do, and it's a little bit of a hill, but I have, and I'll give you an example. The ones that are going up next to me, their lots are terrible. I mean, those lots, they're at 490,000 to start, up to like 535 entry level. The lots are terrible. The back lots slope down. They're just terrible lots. And we talk about it. My son goes, those lots are, and they're probably only like quarter acre lots. So it's we do have, but again, when they built these, they gave you a little bigger lot. Now they jam them in. Like Bay said, you see some of these new construction, they have a lot to be desired. They're jammed in. They're not nice looking. It's a money grab. They pour the once they pour the foundations on these new homes next to me, I'm not kidding. That house is done start to finish in 4 to 6 weeks.
What
Done.
year was your house built?
1999, end of 98, beginning of 99. So it's about 27 years old.
That's actually new.
Relative, yeah. Now again, you go down to Delaware County; those houses were well, not all, but a large portion of them were built after World War II, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking 1950, 1955 in those ranges. So those houses are needing maintenance. Just I'm here. My dog's here with me.
That's,
Um,
but still, to me, the 50s is not that old. A
no,
50s
but
house is, and a lot of times 50s houses are really built well, and you can actually fix them a lot easier
correct. But
because they might be on pier and beam.
because you're old and the young people say, no, I don't want that. It's too old. That's what these young people tell you. They still going to
No,
tell you.
I'm I'm keeping it. I'm keeping young though. You gotta. So
But these young people say, oh, I don't want them. It's a 70-year-old house. I don't want it. It's a 75-year-old house. And I don't want to do the maintenance on them.
never grow broke trying to impress the neighbors.
Oh no, it's true. But I tell people too, you got to make sure that you have money. You can't be house poor. You want to go down the shore. You want to buy a birthday gift. You want to buy Christmas gifts. You got to, and that's why a lot of people looking for small singles because they don't want to get involved with these townhomes with these high associations and these crazy rules in some of these townhome communities.
Yeah, and what can you do with the townhome? You don't own it. You can't remodel it like you want it, etc.
Yeah, I mean,
And also,
if you're not renting, you could do what you want to the. They just have some stipulations on the exterior on some of the ones up
yeah, but
here.
they're
But
connected to each other, aren't
right,
they?
correct, yes, correct.
And so that's not anything like what you got, or like one of
No.
those houses that are built in the 50s.
And again, ours are small singles, but this is what people are looking for now. They don't want a huge house. For example, like down in the Malvern area, well, Lisa just sold the big one, and it did sell quickly. Lisa Lass, who works for me, just sold one that was over 3,000 square foot, and that was up right around $650,000, and I think she got within 5,000, give or take, an asking price on that. So some stuff, some people still looking for most people are looking for a reasonable size in that low 2,000 square foot range, and they're looking for it's all. I've been saying this for months. It all comes down to affordability. And Bay made a mention. I saw this on the news. Like all these companies are going down to Tennessee from California. You're getting a lot of business heading that way, Bay.
Big time.
Yeah, and from 2018 to 2024, Dallas Fort Worth got more
Yes.
corporate offices than San Antonio and Austin combined.
And I talked to some people a year or so ago when we were out in Houston, and they were saying that a lot of businesses were moving up into the Houston area, which is just a few hours from Dallas. That they were getting a lot of growth in those areas as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you go to Houston every year, is that right?
No, we just went for our conference. I loved it. I actually enjoyed it up there. And we got a lot of insight on the regrowth. They were down in the dumps in the 70s, and they got a lot of research, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of housing going up over there. It's interesting when we travel to other areas to see what that housing market is doing.
Yeah, it is. And we also know that Austin's growing really big too.
Big time. Is it still on that big time arrow upwards as it was?
It is, but it's not going to be like Dallas Fort Worth because we have a lot more land and we don't have the humidity that the more southern
That's a
cities
good
do.
point. That's a good point. We talk about real estate like with the weather, and my people that live in other states don't realize when we dump 7 inches of snow on Philadelphia, you ain't doing any real estate that week. People aren't trudging around in the weather. I mean, we have our challenges. It's not the end all factor, but it does slow things up here when we get into our winter months.
Well, how about the holidays, Dan? Like, this time of year, like like we talked before we went live, you were asking me about what I'm doing now for work, if sales are slowing down, and we're dipping. So I mean, people, their attention is in many other places right now. Are people actually really looking at housing?
I tell you what, we should be dead as a doornail. You used to have to squirrel your money away from November 7th through end of February, beginning of March. Sorry, Jessica. And now it's not that way though. We've pushed into December for settlements. I got one on Thursday. Evelyn's got one on the 29th. Evelyn got her neighbor into a condo. They're settling. So, I mean,
is Evelyn one of your agents?
She is, yeah. Evelyn Holtzmuller. We're down. We have a handful of agents. So we have me, Lisa, Evelyn. I got Bo DeForge's sons, Matt and Mason. Bill Hansel's with us. So, yeah, she just sold the condo, and they're set on December 29th.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You know what? It does help with, when you run a business like anything, it helps with the cash flow because we always save our money as far as our business operating expenses to get through the winter months because we're a smaller real estate brokerage. We renewed, let's talk about that a minute. We renewed, and we talked about this in September for 5 years. And a lot of other companies and a lot of other smaller brokerage owners are not renewing, including my friends in the NextHome system. And only because of I really think because we actually care and the people trust us and it comes through in the work we do and they knew we're genuine, can we keep this thing going? Because there's a lot. Most real estate brokerages from post-COVID till now, we're down 50% or more in volume. And there's a lot.
I know you're renting a new office. Is that right?
We are. We're close to the house. So we kind of in a way, we downsized again. We're probably, let's see, 5 of my 8 agents are right here in my area. So, and the highest producing agents are right here in my area. So we moved up to Parksburg, which is about 2 miles away from all of us. So it puts us in a better spot.
So when you say you renewed, does that mean that you renewed with NextHome for 5 years?
For 5 years with the national franchise. A lot of people decided not to, and I talked it over with our group, and my brother-in-law was involved in the family, and we just thought it's in our best interest to stay with NextHome. We like the products and services. I'm happy overall with the company. It's a relative low-cost model for franchises. And the bottom line is it gives my clients what they need to succeed, and it gives us the tools to offer to our clients. Because sometimes when you're too small, you can't offer what you need to offer as far as services, mortgage, title, marketing services. And NextHome stays cutting edge with that. But it's a challenge because of the economic conditions and everything we talk about on a monthly basis. Things have I keep hearing about this economic boom coming next year, about how this big beautiful bill is going to kick in and things are going to start being spurred as far as the economy. I'm interested to see if we can get back to it at reasonable, close to the levels we were post-COVID.
Dan, let me ask you. Let me ask this question real quick. So, as you, because I know, I guess it was about a month, 6 weeks ago, when you made the announcement that you signed for another 5 years. Well, did you have the conversation with yourself, not anybody else, not even your wife, but yourself? Like, is this where I feel is the path to continue on? And was there a deciding factor that you said, NextHome is it? This is why I want to continue with NextHome.
When you run a business, like, I think people, because real estate's so humanistic and there's such a human side to it. Like, I'm not selling toothbrushes. It's a different, it's a people oriented business, almost like the car business. And we had to look at both. Like I said, are the tools there to help us give our clients every advantage, right? We need that. And there's a lot of factors that go into being with a national franchise, a lot of pluses. And then the cost factor from a broker ownership standpoint is this cost effective, or should I just go to work for somebody else? Right.
Right.
And when we looked at both sides of it, NextHome really is a value-oriented, full-service, which is the key, national franchise real estate brokerage on the smaller side. But I'm a value guy. I look at everything. The value in what the company offers from a products and services standpoint, and the corporate culture, although it's changed, and I'll give it to you straight, they don't bullshit. They're genuine. And I don't like nonsense bullshit. I like genuine, and Charis and the group there are really straightforward, honest, and I've never felt duped. I understand some things I don't like, but they have a business to run like we do. So when I looked at everything, Bay, I'll be honest with you. At 53, with 2 kids and one in college and one disabled kid and everything else, do I want the responsibility of the
Right.
ownership side? Do I want to do the paperwork? My wife has to help me balance the books every month. But when I looked at it to what's going to serve our customers the best, our clients the best, it was a no-brainer to renew. And I said, let's just do it. The time flies. If we can control our expenses, because if you go into some of these bigger offices, we went into a Keller Williams in along the main line there. Where was that at? Trying to think. Like, it was on the main line outside of Bala. They had $10,000 chandeliers. And when me and Evelyn went in there for a settlement, I thought, somebody's paying for this. It's the clients that are paying for this. We can't run an operation like that. We got to keep it tight and put our money into what's best for our client and for us, so we can get them to their ultimate goal of buying or selling a property. So that's what it came down to. I didn't want to continue with the business side of it, but I thought, for the business of all of us, the clients, the agents, how our business model is set up, it was best for us to renew the franchise.
But also, the support system that you get from them is actually highly worth it.
100%.
And also the brand name it's not just the brand, but it's an organization that has a reputation that gives you trust. They have credibility that you can go to, and they have people that will help you with what you need.
100%. And the only thing that we lack is that huge national brand name. But like you said, or in fact, one of the ladies is trying to be on our board for our marketing committee. And I just think the branding aspect of NextHome, the marketing, those tools, I don't want to give up. I love our digital art, like Danny's going for, that side of it. They create the flyers. They have a website for every listing. The help they give us with exposure of our listings, we're on 250 websites. Once we do our national downstream, they target those websites, and they use like AI and some different SEOs to target where they should place these listings, as far as where the advertising dollars should go. All that stuff comes into play. For what we pay, I was thinking about going on my own. Fasciola Real Estate, my mom's family, I was going to go Fasciola Real Estate. We had one years ago. We were thinking about going that route. We could not replicate Hub and duplicate or even come close to what we get from NextHome and the value we get. And again, it comes down to, how does that play with our customers? And I can sit and really explain it to my customers, say, hey, we can give you everything all the big brokerages can.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is, I remember we were talking. We did an episode where Compass is buying up a lot of realtor companies, and I said, well, that would actually depend. Their success is really going to depend on the realtors that they recruit for their company.
They just bought. Who'd they just buy, Hub? They just bought. Did they just buy Long and Foster? No, Berkshire.
They bought a whole bunch of brands.
No, they bought Berkshire, is who they bought. Compass bought Berkshire. So it's so convoluted in the big box brands right now. When the dust settles, how does the consumer fare?
Yeah, but the consumer is only going to fare when they know the game of how to work with and to select the right agent for them.
And they don't all the time, Hub. They just
Oh,
don't
they
have that.
don't a lot.
You know,
And it's like that with anything that you do. If you got to find the right person for you, whether it be a dentist, an accountant, it could be a handyman, it could be anything. It's really, really, some of it's trial and error, and some of it is just knowing as many people as you can so you can get a sense of what's going to work for what you do.
and it's true. Like I just helped my buddy James's daughter, and they had another realtor prior, and she said, basically, I didn't listen to my dad at first, and my dad said you have to use Dan, and then through my usual hard work, they were able to see the value add that I brought to the transaction for them and how I helped them get to where they need to be. And until you're working with somebody that's going to do all those extra things, you don't realize it. And on the business side of it, Bay, if I were to go with Compass and if I were to close my next home office and I didn't renew, our commission structure with Compass is 80-20. So I would have to give Compass 20%. And this is a known fact. This ain't something my mom says, why do you tell people, this is fact. This is industry standard. You go to Compass, if you sell, there we go. There's no cap. If you sell 20 million, then you still have to give them 20% of what you do. So, you know, to me, with everything that we got from Next Home, why would I give comp just 20% and I could get more? I felt like for us and the way we do our business, we could get more of a value add for ourselves and our clients by staying with Next Home.
And plus, nobody can fire you because
Right.
you're the owner.
And you know what else I like about it, Hub? I make the decisions based on what's best for our clients and our agents. And if our agents, they know that. We try to really, because with 46,000 people in our region, we have to differentiate ourselves from our competition. And how do you do that? That's the question we have to ask every day. And Bay couches it right in that, like, we put humans over houses. We truly do that through our actions, how we represent people, what we do for. Today, I picked up a deed package and physically drove it to a title company for the settlement that's on Thursday. I don't have to do that. You know why I did it? I want to make sure it was done. I want to make sure it was done right, and I want to make sure we didn't have any problems on closing day. So I did what I had to do. I got in the car and I drove in some back icy roads, and we got the deed package. We checked it. We cleared it with the title company. We made sure things were right. So when we go to settlement, we're doing everything we can to make sure we're going to settle on Thursday. That's the difference. And people don't do it. It's basic business, but a lot of people don't do it.
There's so many basic concepts that real estate agents don't do that they could be doing.
Right.
And I'm
And
not talking about it. Your office, of course, everybody at Dan's Next Home does everything highly professional. But there's a lot of in these big corporate real estate agents, they're not doing things the way that they could. There's room for a lot of improvement. Is what I'm saying.
and my buddy, Vince Cavassini, who just passed away, he was one of the guys that brought me up, that taught me how to do things the right way. Dave Stinson, I always talk about Vince Cavassini, John Leonard. John posted that our good friend Vince passed tonight. And I was thinking, like, that guy helped me a lot and helped me understand, like, how to do things the right way in the business. And I think, again, what do we talk about? Being learned, being open-eared, don't be closed-minded. Don't, like I told you that time that lady said to me, I do 2 reply to inspections, one for the mortgage company and one for the, for the people in the transaction. If you give the mortgage company misinformation, it's mortgage fraud. But somebody gave her bad information, and I said, "Look, as a professional, I'm going to tell you, you can't do that. It's illegal. You're if you put something different on one reply and something different on another, you can't do that. Like, so I attribute the way I do it to my family, my cousin Linda Johnson, and that original group at Century 21 Absolute Realty. It just did things the right way.
It's so common for any business to not really know what the right hand is doing, what the left hand is doing.
That's why we keep it small, because I really
Yeah.
want to keep it tight. And again, it's risk mitigation too. There's a lot of legality around real estate. You don't want to get sued. You want to make sure everybody's doing things the right way without malice. And that's why they said, you want to grow it? Well, there's a lot of challenges there, and I do like the way we have it. We just need to keep our base of business. That's why we do these podcasts, to let people know, hey, we're here. We're going to do you right. We're going to give you a fair price in your transaction as far as commissions, and read our reviews. Go on our website too, nexthomebrandywine.com, and you can look on our Reach 150 page. No review has ever been doctored, and no review has ever been denied. They're published as written, and I don't think we have below a 5-star. And I bet you we have 100+ reviews on there.
Do you have a question, Bay?
Nope.
Well, so I mean, it's so amazing, some of the stuff that happens that in this business. But customers come in, and I don't know if you looked at any of those things that I sent you, but so many customers come in and they have very confusing ideas about how they're supposed to sell their house.
Absolutely. And some of that
But
stuff you sent me, you know what I think too? It's one of those things, again, we talked about at the top of the show, where you just have to sit down and understand the perspective of the customer, where they need to be, where they're trying to get to, and just kind of have that conversation.
Well, it exactly. And a lot of real estate agents don't know that it really needs to be about the customer too, and that, see, and they tell their own personal stories to the customer.
They do.
It's not about talking about you, it's trying to find out about them and what they want and what their goals are.
100%. And again, it comes down to a lot of listening. I should do way too much. When you're new and you're inexperienced, anybody's inexperienced does too much talking. And we do a lot of listening.
Mm-hmm. It also had another thing about people who are late, and how you have to explain to people that if you have multiple appointments, that you need to tell people that you will give them a window of time that you'll be there to be for their appointment, because you never know exactly how long your previous appointment is going to be.
Another great point into that, Imran Paladi, who used to be our VP, we had a training one time, and he said, if your appointment's at 7 o'clock, what time should you get there? And we put all these times out there. He goes, right at 7, because at 6:59 they're still kicking stuff underneath the couch, and at 7:01 you're late. So you get there right at the time you're supposed to be there.
Yep, but see, also, if you are late, you have to be able to say that you're late without making excuses.
I text people. Yeah. If I'm a minute late, I'll say my ETA is 7:02. I'm sorry, I hit some traffic. I'm running behind.
Yeah, but see, there's an inexperienced agent will start making excuses and stuff, and the customer doesn't want to hear that.
No, especially when, and I'm always mindful that there's 46,000 people in our region that can sell you a house. You don't have to hire me.
Yeah, but I mean, this is all very, very basic, but it seems like it needs to be reviewed for the agents.
I'm on the board all the time. We need trainings and refreshers. We should be doing it as a industry, and we're not.
They definitely should go back to all these basics. It's like there was another thing that she was talking about, dress codes, that you should not be dressed when you have a meeting with a client, like to show how cute or handsome you are.
Well, we used to dress in shirt and ties. We need to get back to being more professionally dressed and respect the business and respect the transaction. I agree with you.
Yeah, but she said it's not about that. It's about you being like very not so outstanding. Now that's different. If you go to a trade show, or if you're a musician or anything like that, you're an artist, you might wear the oddball clothes because you want to get attention and you want to network and meet with people. Yep. Yeah, like at the music shows I used to go to in LA, there would be girls walking around in the strangest clothes you ever seen because they want somebody to go up and take a picture with them.
Yep. Great point on that.
I saw a girl with a float, like a pool float, that blow up float, but it was a dinosaur tail, and she was walking around with a dinosaur tail.
Interesting.
Dan will be doing that at the next open house.
Yeah, you know what? You see that commercial with the lady with the open house? They're both competing. I don't know if you've seen that commercial. And then the lady dresses as some kind of like warrior woman to differentiate herself at the open house. It's a very strange thing. We're 54 minutes into this thing. Let's get a quick question here on what we're doing for the holidays and get out of here. What do we got on tap, Hub, down there in Texas for the holiday?
Well, we're hanging around the homestead. We got I'm sure we'll get some cornbread, that kind of thing. And not exactly sure. We're not going anywhere. We got people coming, I'm sure.
Good. Miss Ann is hosting.
Yeah, Miss Ann hosting, and we'll just have a great old time, snuggling up by the fire.
Bay, what do you got down there in Tennessee?
Little Italian family get together.
What's Coco? What's the Christmas? Does she do fishes or no?
We're doing that over at her sister's with her parents, and yeah.
Wait a second. What is this? What is this? Fishes?
7 fishes.
The 7 fishes. It's an Italian thing on the Christmas Eve.
I'm gonna explain it to you. We're gonna look it up. We're gonna talk about it in January's episodes. The Feast of the 7 Fishes. Mm-hmm. Most Italian people do it on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
So it's 7 different types of fishes. It's an Italian tradition. We're gonna follow up on that one. All right, everybody. We are going to sign off here for the month. From Bay, Hub, myself. We wish you a very Merry Christmas, a very happy holiday season. We're going to see you in the new year, bring you more exciting episodes of the Closing Table podcast. Bay, get us out of here.
All right, everybody, have a happy new year, happy holidays, and get ready for a electric and booming 2026.
Thank you, guys.